We did know at some point we'd be world champions together, but never on the same night winning, especially with her main eventing. And I'm so happy for her and Jordan to have that spot, especially for Impact, giving them that the knockouts that moment. And it's just awesome for my wife to keep killing it as the main event.
My guest at this time is the reigning Impact World Champion, a man you've seen on international television, and of course you can see him every week on Access TV with Impact Wrestling. Maclin, you are the new world champion. This is a wild kind of reset for Impact after you're the walking weapon, no longer the champion. Now you have changed the guard, as you put it on a recent episode. How does it feel to be the new world champ in Impact?
Awesome. Long time coming. A lot of hard work into it and paid off. And I've hit the ground running since 2 years ago in Impact Wrestling, and I never looked back.
Mm-hmm. Did you ever think this was a possibility at your point in your wrestling career? Everyone enters wrestling, they want to be a world champion, but it's just, when does that opportunity present itself? Because you've been on the televised level of WWE, Impact, worldwide, across that level. But now you are the guy holding the proverbial strap that everyone wants.
At a time, yes, that's a goal. But if you're not in this business to be the world champion, I don't know what you're trying to do. That should be the end goal of all goals. And obviously, as a kid, you want a main event WrestleMania and the biggest thing in the world and be the world champion. And then you get into the business and you kind of learn the way it goes and you take your licks and your bumps and just earn the grind and you enjoy it. And then you just pay your dues towards everything. And then there's moments when like, maybe this isn't going to happen. And then there's times where you get an opportunity and then you get the ball and you run with it. You run a little bit further. And then you get the ball again. You run a little bit further and further and further. That's what Impact has done for me from 2 years ago. Like I said, hit the ground running and haven't stopped. Mm-hmm. Where they gave me an opportunity and then I made it my goal was to become the Impact World Champion. And then the best of that time was Josh Alexander, I thought, even while he was the Impact X Division champion. I said, well, that's the match I want down the road, and that's the match I think that people would want to see. And, of course, things happened. The longest reigning Impact World Champion had to vacate his title, and then I had to face Kushida at Rebellion, which to me I thought was still just as good of a match as anything, too, because Kushida is one hell of a talent. And now I have the sights set on me, and I don't have front towards enemy on my chest. My T-shirts just for the hell of it. It's literally the motto because I have my back against the wall at all times, and that's how I try to treat it now as well, where everybody's in front of me and everybody's lining up for this Impact World title.
Obviously, big residency in Cicero Stadium throughout the 2023 schedule. July 28th, July 29th, you guys will be there as well. Coming up, Impact Television taping at Cicero Stadium and Bound for Glory in October. You can get the season pass at impactwrestling.com. Talk about this position of being where you are. You defeated Kushida, arguably one of the most critically acclaimed wrestlers in the world. And now coming up here, May 26th, going once again north of the border, you're going to take on one of the biggest Canadian names in the business, PCO, at Under Siege on May 26th. Describe PCO, a guy who has a multi-decade career in pro wrestling, widely respected, and also capable of some freakish things, as we saw a few weeks ago with you guys.
Widely respected, freakish things, and he puts his body on the line. But that's also the same thing with me too. I put my body on the line just as much. I very much adapt to every opponent that I do wrestle. Like I say, I like to recon and just scout them a little bit and see what's going on. And I've beaten PCO before. So to be in London, Ontario on May 26th at Under Siege, which happens to be my birthday as well. So to be an even better birthday to ring it in and beating the Perfect Creation in his own Canadian or his own country of Canada, and also stick it to Scott D'Amore again by trying to always stack the deck against me.
Talk about your relationship with Impact Management. Seems very contentious. Scott D'Amore getting in the ring, trying to give you the hardest possible challenger he can, and certainly a Canadian one when you're going to be in Canada.
It's funny, like everybody's like, oh, you're whining about this, you're not getting your opportunities. Like, no, I beat, for over a year, I beat every former Impact World Champion that was put in front of me, and I wanted my match with Josh. I shouldn't have to go and ask for it. It should have just been given to me, because if you're winning and you're on the top of your game, you should be the number one contender. And that just never happened. People got their opportunities that I didn't. So I picked my right moment, and I wanted it in Toronto with the longest reigning Impact World Champion in history, in his hometown, in his home country. And obviously circumstances happened, and I had Kushida, which is fine. I enjoyed the match. Things happened, but the best part about winning the world title at Rebellion in Canada was also then hitting the boss right after, and it made it even better because he did provoke me a little bit. He did throw the title in my chest. He said he was going to be a man of his word and hand me that Impact World title. He didn't. So, sorry. Don't bully a bully.
What about the critique? I've heard some people say this, some people very supportive of Impact in the circumstance, that say that maybe because of the circumstances you're in, you defeated Kushida. You are legitimately the Impact World Champion. But some say because maybe you're not their favorite guy, you could be holding the title hostage. Have you heard this? I don't. It doesn't line up with me, but I've heard some people say it.
Listen, you go down with injury and you vacate the title. Josh did the right thing and he showed up. And he was a man of his word. He vacated the title. And like I said, that very night in Windsor, that I should have had that title just handed right to me because that's what the result was going to be anyway. Beat Kushida at Rebellion. And as much as people can say that I'm holding this title right now, no, I don't believe that. I am the Impact World Champion. And once Josh is healthy, I really hope he comes out because I plan to hold this title until he's healthy enough that I can actually face the longest reigning Impact World Champion in history.
Mm-hmm. You mentioned doing recon. You mentioned the change of the guard. Obviously, it's well documented. You have a history of military service in the armed forces. Talk about how that's influencing now your character, because it's becoming even more part of your presentation, even more part of your character on camera. And how do people that you know that are in the armed forces or have that a part of their life feel like you're representing that now on television?
Well, being a Marine, I try to uphold the image of what a Marine is and not coming out and waving the flag and the old patriotic coloring of the color guard and everything. That's never been the case. And for me being infantry in the Marine Corps with 2nd Battalion, 8th Marines, I was an 0331, which 03 is infantry, and then 31 I was a machine gunner as a specialist. So I try to really uphold that. And a lot of the things I come up with ideas, and even the name for changing of the guard, I got asked creatively, like, different names, like what would be a ceremony that you would do? And I even contacted a few of my buddies that are still in. I'm like, what would sound more like relatable for the casual fan, but then also for a military like veteran as well to see something like, okay, they're paying respect and doing this. So changing the guard was kind of there instead of a change of command ceremony, because I'm not really command, I'm just a world champion. It's changing the guard. So it was trying to figure out something that was more wordy and sellable to the fans. And then also, do I wish my guards had different camouflage? Yes. If I had my creative control in that aspect, I would have had a different color and they would have been a lot more in shape, and not even Canadian. They would have been American. I would have had Americans imported in. So yeah, would have done that a little bit differently, but it still worked out. And obviously PCO had his way with them. So.
All right. Obviously, Under Siege, May 26th, streaming on Impact Plus, and of course, the big season pass available for events at Cicero Stadium in Chicago, available all at ImpactWrestling.com. Maclin, if they want to get your merch, follow you on the socials, where do they go?
I do not have the blue check mark anymore.
Who does?
I don't know. So at Twitter, on Twitter at Steve Maclin, as well as Instagram. You get it on Twitter. I just pretty much promote myself and pro wrestling, and then on Instagram, it's just me and my dogs and the wife. You get to kind of see a little bit more insight of me. At Pro Wrestling Tees, Steve Maclin Store, and shop Impact deals as well for Steve Maclin merchandise. And please, this Thursday, 8 o'clock at Access TV Impact. And then we're on Friday and Saturday. We're in Chicago, Spring Slugfest, and there's just so many lineups coming up. And it's good to be back out on the road.
I want to talk to you about this before we sign off. You brought the wife there. The wife, quite successful in the wrestling business herself.
I know.
You guys are now the power couple. You hold the Knockouts World Championship and the Impact World Championship. Who has the duties of cleaning the championships? I mean, you have the honey-do list, but we're bringing the belts on the road. Make sure we get the belt polish out.
We just make sure we both have our belts. We both work hard, and she does what she does, and I do what I do, and it all kind of worked out. And it was a good moment for it to happen organically on the same night, which we never thought. We did know at some point we'd be world champions together, but never on the same night winning, especially with her main eventing. And I'm so happy for her and Jordan to have that spot, especially for Impact, giving them that the knockouts that moment. And it's just awesome for my wife to keep killing it as the main event.
How many pictures have you guys taken as a couple with the championships? Too many or just enough?
You could sit right next to me. She's already printing them out so we can hang them up. So,
great stuff. Great
it's
stuff.
Just right there. So good timing on that. A lot, and it's just it's cool. It's such a cool moment. Like, you think back as a kid, and even us together, never would have thought. Especially we were just married in November, and then this all happening together. Just it's cool moments, and just enjoying life, enjoying pro wrestling, and just enjoying it being a part of Impact Wrestling.
Absolutely. Are you guys going to be able to maybe go out there and do the power couple thing as a mixed tag? I know you guys have been able to do that sporadically here and there, but it'd be pretty cool to see you guys do that now with both titles.
Would be pretty cool, but she's on the different side. She's more of the good guy. I'm more of the bad guy right now. So it's if it all shapes up and works out creatively, if we were able to do something down the road, I think we would. But it has to make sense.
Absolutely, it was the first thing I thought of when I saw everything kind of play out at Rebellion. I was like, oh, this would be.
You never know. That's the thing about pro wrestling. Things happen organically and they happen overnight. So you never know what could happen in pro wrestling.
Once again, a lot of tickets available. Cicero Stadium in Chicago. Multiple events throughout the year, including Bound for Glory coming up in October, and the big Slugfest for the summer, by the way, at the end of July. Of course, this week they'll be there as well for the Spring Slugfest. And Under Siege will be streaming on Impact Plus on May 26th. Maclin, thank you so much for the time, man.
No, thank you for having me on.
Appreciate it.